Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I am here with another video on unit 3 of chapter 1 other laws, that is agency. So in this video also I have covered all the examples from ICI module along with handwritten notes. There were total 61 examples in ICI module and each and every example is covered in this video itself. And in the coming days also I will be coming up with lots of video of practical and all the theory subjects of most probably group 1 CA intermediate. So don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you don't miss any of the update. So now let's begin. Unit 3, agency. Relationship of agency is established when one party, that is the agent, is authorized by another party, that is the principal, to act on his behalf. So who is an agent? An agent is a person employed to do any act for another or to represent another in dealings with the third persons. And who is a principal? A person for whom such act is done or who is so representers. Test of agency. Whether person has the capacity to bind the principal and make him answerable to the third party. Whether he can establish privity of contract between principal and third parties, and if both the conditions are satisfied, then there is a relationship of agency. Now we have a point which is very important for MCQ point of view. Rule of agency. Based on the maxim, you need to remember this maxim because many of the times it comes in MCQ. Qui fecit per alium fecit per se. He who acts through an agent is himself acting. Next is who may employ an agent. A person who has attained the age of majority, that means 18 plus, and a person of sound mind. Who may be an agent? Any person. Even minor and person of unsound mind can be an agent. But there is a caution. Minor or unsound mind should not be appointed because why? It is an advice given that the minor or a person of unsound mind should not be appointed. The reason is that person is incompetent to contract and principal not able to proceed against him, right? Because you cannot proceed against, that means you cannot do any legal formalities against that person in case of his default. A point to remember is no consideration necessary for agency. So we have example number 1 in the module for this topic. P appoints Q, a minor, to sell his car for not less than rupees 2,50,000. Q sells it for 2 lakh. What P has said that it should not be sold below 2,50,000. Q sells it for 2 lakh. So that means he has sold it below the standard rate, given by the principal. P will be held bound by the transaction and further shall have no right against Q for claiming the compensation for having not obeyed the instructions, since Q is a minor and a contract with minor is void ab initio. Now we have modes of creation of agency. First is agency by express appointment, by words which may be spoken or written. Now for this we have example number 2 and 3 from the module. A is residing in Delhi and he has a house in Kolkata. A authorizes B under a power of attorney as caretaker of his house. Agency is created by express agreement. What is the express agreement? Power of attorney. Example number 3. If a customer of a bank wishes to transact his banking business through an agent, the bank will require written evidence of appointment of the agent and will normally ask to see the registered power of attorney appointing the agent. Next is implied appointment, inferred from conduct of parties circumstances of the case, and things in ordinary course of the dealing. We have example number 4 for this. If a person realizes rent and gives it to the landlord, he impliedly acts for the landlord as an agent. Example number 5. A owns a shop in Selampur, living himself in Kolkata and visiting the shop occasionally. The shop is managed by B and he is in the habit of ordering goods from C in the name of A for the purposes of the shop and of paying for them out of A's funds with A's knowledge. B has an implied authority from A to order goods from C in the name of A for the purposes of the shop. Agency by estoppel or holding out. Principal by his words or conduct induced third persons to believe that such acts and obligations were within the scope of agent's authority. Principal is bound by such acts or obligation, although the agent really has no authority. Example number 6. A consigns goods to B for sale and gives him instructions not to sell below a fixed price. C, being ignorant of B's instruction, enters into a contract with B to buy the goods at a price lower than the reserved price. Buy the goods at a price lower than the reserved price. So here is a correction. It is A's instructions, not B's instructions. Okay. A price is bound by the contract. A cannot plead that he has given instructions to B to not sell the goods below certain price. An agency by estoppel is consequently deemed between A and B. Example number 7. If PL, the principal, has for several months permitted Sunil to buy goods on credit from Prasad and has paid for the goods bought by Sunil, PL cannot later refuse to pay Prasad, who had supplied the goods on credit to Sunil in the belief that he was PL's agent and was buying the goods on behalf of PL. PL is stopped from now asserting that Sunil is not his agent because on earlier occasions he permitted Prasad to believe that Sunil was his agent and Prasad has acted in that belief. Next is agency by necessity. It arises due to some emergent circumstances. Agent authorized to do what he cannot do in ordinary circumstances. Example number 8. Raja has a large farm on which Shyam is the caretaker. When Raja is in Canada, there is a huge fire on the farm. Shyam becomes an agent of necessity for Raja so as to save the property from being destroyed by fire. Raja, the principal, will be liable for any expenses Shyam, his agent of necessity, incurred to put out the fire and save the farm from destruction during Raja's absence from the country. Last is agency by ratification, approving a previous act or transaction. Acts done by one person on behalf of another but without his knowledge or authority, he may elect to ratify or to disown such acts. So in this case, the acts done by the agent without the knowledge or authority of the principal. So now it is upon the principal to either ratify the act, ratify means accept the act, or to disown the act. Example number 9. X, who is Y's agent, has on 10th January 2020 purchased from Z on credit without Y's permission. After the purchase on 20th January 2020, Y tells X that he will accept responsibility to pay for the purchases, although at the time of purchase the agent had no authority to buy on credit. Y's subsequent statement on 20 January 2020 amounts to a ratification of the agent's, that is X, purchase of goods on 10th January 2020. Essentials of a valid ratification. First is may be expressed or implied. in the conduct of a person on whose behalf the acts are done. Example 10. A without authority buys goods for B. Afterwards, B sells them to C on his own account. B's conduct implies a ratification of the purchase made by A. Example 11. A without B's authority lends B's money to C. Afterwards, B accepts the interest on the money from C. B's conduct implies a ratification of the loan. Knowledge requisite for valid ratification. Knowledge of facts of the case should not be materially defective. Example number 12. A has an authority from P to buy certain goods at the market rate. He buys at a higher rate, but P accepts the purchase. Afterwards, P come to know that the goods purchased by A for P belonged to A himself. The ratification is not binding on P. If, however, the alleged principal is prepared to take the risk of what the purported agent has done, he can choose to ratify without full knowledge of the facts. Effect of ratifying unauthorized act forming part of a transaction. Ratifies whole of the transaction. Ratification of an act entirely or its rejection is entirely. Ratification of unauthorized act cannot injure third person. When interest of third party is affected, the principle of ratification does not apply. Example number 13. A not being authorized thereto by B demands on behalf of B the delivery of a chattel, the property of B from C, who is in possession of it. This demand cannot be ratified by B so as to make C liable for damages for his refusal to deliver. Then we have example 14. A holds a lease from B terminable on 3 months' notice. C, an unauthorized person, gives notice of termination to A. The notice cannot be ratified by B so as to be binding on A. Ratification within reasonable time. Communication of ratification to the other party. Act to be ratified must be valid, not be void or illegal. Extent of agent's authority. First is in normal circumstances. Agent having an authority to do an act has authority to do every lawful thing which is necessary in order to do such act. Example number 15. A is employed by B residing in London to recover at Mumbai a debt due to B. A may adopt any legal process necessary for the purpose of recovering the debt and may give a valid discharge for the same. Example number 16. A constitutes B as his agent to carry on his business of a shipbuilder. B may purchase timber and other materials and hire workmen for the purpose of carrying on the business. Second is agent's authority in an emergency. To do all such acts for the purpose of protecting his principal from loss as would be done by a person of ordinary prudence in his own case under the similar circumstances. Example number 17. An agent who has authority for sale of goods may repair it if necessary. Example number 18. A consigns perishable goods to B at Srinagar with directions to send them immediately to C at Tamil Nadu. B may sell the goods if they begin to perish before reaching its destination. There is an MCQ. When agent cannot delegate to perform acts which he has expressly or impliedly undertaken to perform personally. Next is subagent. So who is the subagent? A person employed by and acting under the control of the original agent in the business of the agency. Appointment of subagent is not lawful. Agent is a delegatee and a delegatee cannot further delegate. So why the appointment of subagent is not lawful? Because agent is a delegatee and a delegatee cannot further delegate. So there is an MCQ question for this. There is a principle, there is a maxim basically. Delegators non-protest delegate. Now we have a flowchart for this. Principle delegates the act or work to agent and then agent further delegates it to subagent. Next is exceptions where an agent can appoint subagent. So first is terms of appointment originally contemplated it, customs of trade, and third is unforeseen emergency. In the first two cases, subagent treated as agent of the principal. Next is representation of principal. First is where the subagent is properly appointed. And second case is in case of appointment without authority. So in the first case, the subagent is bound, the principal is bound and responsible for acts of subagent. Agent's responsibility for subagents. Subagents liable to principal, responsible to agent but not principal, except in case of fraud or willful wrong. And in second case, agent is responsible for acts of subagent both to principal and to the third person. And subagent is answerable only to agent. We have example number 19 for this. A carrier agreed to carry 60 bags of cotton waste from Morvi to Bhavnagar by a truck. A asked B, another carrier, to carry the goods. The goods were damaged in transit. Hence, A was liable even though it was proved that B was the carrier. Because, why is it so? It is because A appointed the subagent without authority. Next is substituted agent. A person appointed by agent to act for the principal in the business of agency with the knowledge and consent of the principal. Substituted agent means जो agent appoint किया गया था उसकी जगह पर कोई new person काम करेगा, right? And it is with the knowledge and consent of the principal. Such person is not a sub-agent but an agent of the principal. Agent's duty in naming such person bound to exercise same amount of discretion as a man of ordinary prudence would exercise in his own case. If he does this, he is not responsible to the principal for acts or negligence of agent so selected. Example number 20. A directs B, his solicitor, to sell his estate by auction and to employ an auctioneer for the purpose. B names C, an auctioneer, to conduct the sale. C is not a sub-agent but is A's agent for the conduct of the sale. Next is example 21. A authorizes B, a merchant in Kolkata, to recover the monies due to A from C and company. B instructs G, a solicitor, to take legal proceedings against C and company for the recovery of the money. D is not a sub-agent but is a solicitor of A. Example number 22. A instructs B, a merchant, to buy a ship from him. B employs a ship surveyor of good reputation to choose a ship for A. The surveyor makes the choice negligently and the ship turns out to be unseaworthy and is lost. B is not, but the surveyor is responsible to A. Why? Because B employs a surveyor of good reputation as a man of ordinary prudence would do in his own case. Right? Next is example number 23. A consigns goods to B, a merchant, for sale. B in due course employs an auctioneer in good credit to sell the goods of A and allows the auctioneer to receive the proceeds of the sale. The auctioneer afterwards becomes insolvent without having accounted for the proceeds. B is not responsible to A for the proceeds. Duties and obligations of an agent. So there are a total of 10 points. 5 are on this page and 5 are on the next page. So first duty is duty to execute mandate. Perform work for which appointed. Next is duty to follow instructions or customs. In absence of principal, in presence of principal according to his directions, and in absence of principal according to the customs. Customs means जैसा normally follow होता आया है. Example number 24. A, an agent, is engaged for managing the business of B, in which it is a custom to invest money at hand for interest. If A omits to make such investment, he must indemnify B for the losses, that is, for the interest B would have obtained for such investment. Example number 25. Be a broker in whose business it is not the custom to sell on credit. Understand that it is not the custom. In the above case, it is a custom, right? It is not the custom to sell on credit. Sells goods of A on credit to C. C before payment becomes insolvent. B will have to indemnify A for the losses. Third is duty of reasonable care and skill. Skill as generally possessed by person engaged in similar business, unless principal has notice of his want of skill. Now we have example number 26 for this. A merchant in Kolkata has an agent B in London to whom a sum of money is paid on A's account with orders to remit. B retains the money for a considerable time. A, in consequence of not receiving the money, becomes insolvent. B is liable for the money and interest from the day on which it ought to have been paid according to the usual rate and for any further direct loss. Example, by variation of rate of change but not further. Example number 27. A, an agent for the sale of goods having authority to sell on credit, sells to B on credit without making the proper and usual inquiries as to the solvency of B. B, at the time of such sale, is insolvent. A must compensate his principal for the loss sustained by him. Example number 28. A, an insurance broker employed by B to effect an insurance on a ship, omits to see the usual clauses are inserted in the policy. The ship is afterwards lost. In consequence of the omission, nothing can be recovered from the underwriters. A is bound to make good the loss to B. Example number 29. A merchant in England, directs B, his agent at Mumbai, who accepts the agency to send him 100 bales of cotton by a certain ship. B, having it in his power to send the cotton, omits to do so. The ship arrives safely in England. Soon after her arrival, the price of cotton rises. B is bound to make good to A the profit which he might have made by the 100 bales of cotton at the time the ship arrived, but not any profit he might have made by the subsequent rise. Agent's duty to communicate with principal in case of difficulty. Next is duty to avoid conflict of interest. Duty not to deal on his own account without principal's consent. Principal may repudiate the transaction if material fact has been dishonestly concealed, dealings of agents have been disadvantageous to him. Principal entitled to claim from agent any benefit received from such transaction. Example 30. A directs B to sell A's estate. B buys the estate for himself in the name of C. A, on discovering that B has bought the estate for himself, may repudiate the sale if he can show that B has dishonestly concealed any material fact or that the sale has been disadvantageous to him. Example 31. A directs B to sell A's estate. B, on looking over the estate before selling it, finds a mine on the estate which is unknown to A. B informs A that he wishes to buy the estate for himself but conceals the discovery of the mine. A allows B to buy in ignorance of the existence of the mine. A, on discovering that B knew of the mine at the time he bought the estate, may repudiate or accept the sale at his option. Example 32. A directs B, his agent, to buy a certain house for him. B tells A it cannot be bought and buys the house for himself. A may, on discovering that B has bought the house, compel him to sell it to A at the price he gave for it. Next is duty to render proper accounts. Does not mean showing the accounts but the accounts supported by vouchers. Duty not to delegate. Ninth is agent's duty to pay sums received for principal. And last is duty not to use any confidential information received in the course of agency against the principal. Next is rights of an agent. First, right of retain out of sums received on principal's account plus advances plus expenses plus remuneration. Second is right to remuneration. Example number 33. A employs B to recover 1 lakh from C and invest it in securities that give good returns. B recovers the amount and lays out rupees 90,000 on good securities but lays out rupees 10,000 on securities which he ought to provide poor returns, whereby A loses rupees 2,000. B is entitled to remuneration for recovering the rupees 1 lakh and for investing rupees 90,000. He is not entitled to any remuneration for investing rupees 10,000 and he must indemnify A for rupees 2,000. Example number 33. A employs B to recover rupees 1 lakh from C. Because of B's misconduct, the money is not recovered. B is entitled to no remuneration for his services and must make good the loss. Next is agent's lien on principal's property. There are conditions for this. Lawfully entitled to receive from principal. Second is property have been received in his capacity and during the course of ordinary duties. Next is right to indemnity. Right of indemnification for lawful acts. Right of indemnification against acts done in good faith. Non-liability of employer of agent to do a criminal act. Example number 35. A, residing in Delhi, appoints B from Mumbai as an agent to sell his merchandise. As a result, B contracts to deliver the merchandise to various parties. But A fails to send the merchandise to B and B faces litigations for non-performance. Here, A is bound to protect B against the litigations and all cost expenses arising of that. Example number 36. Where P appoints A as his agent and directs him to sell certain goods which in fact turned out to be not those belonging to P, and if third parties sue A for this act, A is entitled for reimbursement and indemnification of such act in good faith. Example 37. A employs B to beat C and agrees to indemnify him against all consequences of the act. B thereupon beats C and has to pay damages to C for so doing. A is not liable to indemnify B for those damages. Example number 38. B, the proprietor of a newspaper, publishes at A's request a libel upon C in the paper, and A agrees to indemnify B against the consequences of the publication and all cost and damages of any action in respect thereof. B is sued by C and has to pay damages and also incurs expenses. A is not liable to indemnify B. Last is right to compensation for injury caused by principal's neglect. Example number 39. A employs B as a bricklayer in building a house and puts up the scaffolding himself. The scaffolding is unskillfully put up and B is in consequence hurt. A must compensate B. Principal's liability to third parties. Principal's liability for the acts of the agent. First is example number 40. A buys goods from B knowing that he is an agent for their sale but not knowing who is the principal. B's principal is the person entitled to claim from A the price of the goods, and A cannot, in a suit by the principal, set off against that claim a debt due to himself from B. Example number 41. A being B's agent with authority to receive money on his behalf receives from C a sum of money due to B. C is discharged of his obligation to pay the sum in question to B. Second is principal's liability when agent exceeds authority. Principal not bound when excess of agent's authority is not separable. There is an exception. Liability of principal inducing belief that agent's unauthorized acts were authorized. Example number 42. A, being owner of a ship and cargo, authorizes B to procure an insurance for rupees 4 lakh on the ship. B procures a policy for rupees 4 lakh on the ship and another for the like sum on the cargo. A is bound to pay the premium for the policy on the ship but not the premium for the policy on the cargo. Next is example number 43. A authorizes B to buy 500 sheep for him. B buys 500 sheep and 200 lambs for one sum of rupees 6 lakh. A may repudiate the whole transaction. Example number 44. A authorizes B to draw bills to the extent of rupees 200 each. B draws bill in the name of A for rupees 1000 each. A may repudiate the whole transaction. Next is example number 45. A consigns goods to B for sale and gives him instructions not to sell under a fixed price. C, being ignorant of B's instructions, enters into a contract with B to buy the goods at a price lower than the reserved price. A is bound by the contract. Why? Because B contracts with B to buy the goods at a price lower than the reserved price. अगर higher होता then A had the right to may repudiate the contract. Example 46. A entrusts B with negotiable instruments endorsed in blank. B sells them to C in violation of private orders from A. The sale is good. Third is consequences of notice given to agent. Example number 47. A is employed to B to buy from C certain goods of which C is the apparent owner and buys them accordingly. In the course of the treaty for the sale, A learns that the goods really belonged to D, but B is ignorant of that fact. B is not entitled to set off a debt owing to him from C against the price of the goods. Thus, the knowledge of the agent is treated as the knowledge of the principal. Last is principal's liability for the agent's fraud, misrepresentation or torts. Example 48. A, being B's agent for the sale of goods, induces C to buy them by a misrepresentation which he was not authorized by B to make. The contract is voidable as between B and C at the option of C. Example 49. A, the captain of B's ship signs bills of lading without having received on board the goods mentioned therein. The bills of lading are void as between B and the pretended consignor. Next is personal liability of agent to third party. Agent cannot be personally enforce nor be bound by contracts on behalf of the principal. Exceptions: merchant resident abroad or foreign principal does not disclose the name of his principal or undisclosed principal. Non-existent or incompetent principal. Pretended agent when agent exceeds authority. Now we have example number 50. An agent who contracts for a minor, the minor being not liable, the agent becomes personally liable. This result may not, however, follow where the other party already knows that the principal is a minor. Next is rights of third parties. First is rights of parties to a contract made by undisclosed agent. Example number 51. SS bought for himself a ticket of IPL match at Wankhede Stadium through AB because on personal grounds stadium management would not have issued the ticket to SS. Stadium management may repudiate the contract and refuse SS to enter the stadium. Second is performance of contract with agent supposed to be principal. Now we have example number 52 for this. A, who owes 50 rupees to B, sells 1 lakh rupees worth of rice to B. A is acting as agent for C in the transaction, but B has no knowledge for nor reasonable ground of suspicion that such is the case. C cannot compel B to take the rice without allowing him to set off A's debt. Third is option of the third person to sue the agent or the principal. In this, there are two cases. Right of person dealing with agent personally liable. Consequence of inducing agent or principal to act on belief that principal or agent will be held exclusively liable. For this, we have example number 53. A enters into a contract with B to sell him 1,000 bales of cotton and afterwards discover that B was acting as agent for C. A may sue either B or C or both for the price of the cotton. Next is termination of agency. First is revocation, that means termination by revocation. Compensation for revocation by principal, notice of revocation, revocation and renunciation may be expressed or implied. Example number 54. A authorizes B to buy 1,000 bales of cotton on account of A and to pay for it out of A's money remaining in B's hand. B buys 1,000 bales of cotton in his own name so as to make himself personally liable for the price. A cannot revoke B's authority so far as regards payment for the cotton. Example number 55. A authorizes B to buy 1,000 bales of cotton on account of A and to pay for it out of A's money remaining in B's hands. B buys 1,000 bales of cotton in A's name and so as not to render himself personally liable for the price. A can revoke B's authority to pay the cotton. Last is example 56 for this point. A empowers B to let A's house. Afterwards, A let it himself. This is an implied revocation of B's authority. Next is renunciation by agent. Next is completion of business, death or insanity, principal's insolvency on expiry of time. When agency is irrevocable. when the agent is personally interested in the subject matter of the agency. Next is effect of termination. When termination of agent's authority takes effect as to agent and as to third person. Agent's duty on termination of agency by principal's death or insanity. Termination of sub-agent's authority. Example number 57, sorry. A gives authority to B to sell A's land and to pay himself out of the proceeds the debts due to him from A. A cannot revoke his authority nor can it be terminated by his insanity or death. Example number 58. A consigns 1,000 bales of cotton to B, who has made advances to him on such cotton and desires B to sell the cotton and to repay himself out of the price the amount of his own advances. A cannot revoke this authority, nor it is terminated by his insanity or death. Example number 59. A directs B to sell goods for him and agrees to give B 5% commission on the price fetched by the goods. A afterwards by letter revokes B's authority. B after the letter is sent but before he receives it sells the goods for 1 lakh. The sale is binding on A and B is entitled to rupees 5,000 as his commission. Example number 60. A at Chennai by letter directs B to sell for him some cotton lying in a warehouse in Mumbai and afterwards by letter revokes his authority to sell and directs B to send the cotton to Chennai. B, after receiving the second letter, enters into a contract with C, who knows of the first letter but not of the second, for the sale to him of the cotton. C pays B the money which B esconds. C's payment is good as against A. Example number 61. A directs B, his agent, to pay certain money to C. A dies and B takes out probate to his will. B, after A's death but before hearing of it, pays the money to C. The payment is good as against D, the executor. So with this we end this unit as well as this chapter also, that is the chapter number 1 of other laws. I really hope you enjoyed the video and you found it very helpful. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.